Hello and welcome to Gut Punch Satan. Today we're going to talk about raw coffee, or as someone else put it, what's in your cup. Hi, I'm Chaplain Gina, and today we're going to talk about what's in your cup. Now, where did I get this idea? A very dear friend of mine. We have been friends for a very long time. Hi, Kara. She sent me like a Facebook article that someone had sent her that she saw that was talking about what's in your cup. And the premise of the little article was that what is in us is what will spill out of us. It starts with someone who has a cup of coffee and some coffee spills out, and the philosophical voice instructs this person that if it had been tea in their cup, it would have been tea that spilled out. And I was so glad she sent this to me because that's so true. We will show what's inside of us, even if we try not to show it. As the article points out, we can try to fake it, but eventually it's coming out. And immediately I thought of an example of something that happened in my life. Again, always trying to be very transparent. So a couple years ago, I found myself teaching summer school at a place called Maryhaven. It's a youth detention center. And I had two classes, and the boys, it's kid jail is what it is. And these kids were awesome. They were awesome, seriously. They were rowdy, and it was a bit like wrangling cats, but they were awesome. They were very damaged, but very, very awesome. And so I really enjoyed it. About 3 weeks in, because they also knew I was a chaplain, after class was over, we got into a conversation about Big Bang Theory, not the TV show, the actual theory. And I told them, I said, well, that's one school of thought, but that's not really my school of thought, being a Christian. And they wanted to know, what proof I would have against it. So I started sharing with them the various cosmological arguments that prove intelligent design. And the thing is, I can state that I explained to them there were arguments that prove intelligent design, but explaining those arguments, that is not my strength. So I said to them, my son is really good at explaining the math and science behind those arguments. So of course they said, can we meet your son? So I talked to the powers that be, and they said, yeah, you can bring him in next Friday. The following Friday, I brought in my son, and they loved him. Of course they did. He's awesome. Hi, Zach. So they absolutely loved him. They hung on every word. And I was really happy. Like, he was able to explain it to them in a way that really spoke to them. And I don't know if it changed their minds, because that's not our goal, but it did give them another way of thinking of things. So the following Monday, I come in and they're raving. Oh, your son was so cool. Your son was so great. And I was like, well, yeah, of course he is. I mean, I wasn't surprised. But then this started. He's so smart. He's smarter than you. We wish he was our teacher. That hurt. That really hurt my feelings. Like, I actually got angry about that. But of course I can't show the kids that I'm angry about that. They're kids, and they're entitled to their opinions. So I had to suck it up. And praise the Lord, we had a video that day. So I explained the assignment, popped in the video, and I sat in the back like I always did when they watched a video so I could watch them. And as I'm looking at the back of their tiny little adolescent heads, I'm thinking, how dare you? I'm smart. What do you mean he's smart? Yeah, he's smart, but I'm smart. I was so upset. Then I started getting mad at myself because I'm thinking, what's wrong with you? They're children. You don't take your opinion of yourself from children. Why are you getting so mad? Then I was getting mad at myself for getting mad at myself because I was thinking, no, I have a right to defend myself. Seriously. I'm embarrassed to say This went on for the rest of the class. I finished up. I was not done. When I came home, I told my son, oh, so they think you're so smart. And, and my son, he knows what to say to, talk me off the ledge. So I was able to move past it and remember that, again, they're children. And of course they thought he was cool and smart. He's closer to their age. He has some shared experience. And he is really smart. There's no denying that. He's really smart. So moved on. Flash forward. I'm in the last week of teaching. And 2 days before class is supposed to end, summer school is supposed to end, 2 new students introduced to the class. Now, if you've ever done anything having to do with incarceration, when the new kids come in, the old kids have to show that they're cool. Everybody's has to, make sure that it's known that they're not going to conform. They're not going to be nice to the teacher. Being nice to the teacher isn't cool. So it was chaos. So I had to regain control. And once I did, just by being quiet and giving them what my son calls my scary mom look, like I'll wait. They knew. But the 2 new kids didn't know. They, of course, had sat in the back. So I asked them to move forward. So here we are. I'm sitting facing them. They're sitting here now facing me. And they still were not about to behave. So I said, all right, boys. I said, I'm thinking it's going to be in everyone's best interest if I separate you 2. And I looked at boy number 1, boy number 2. And here, next to boy number 2, was an empty seat. So I asked boy number 2 to move to the empty seat. Boy number 2 lost his mind. He freaked out. Now, at this point, I have to tell you, only because it's pertinent to the story, this boy was white. The boy that I asked to move to the other seat was black. Not only that, he was the only one of color in the class. Not in both classes, but in this particular class. He lost it. The first thing he called me was an old white racist. And as he went on, that was the nicest thing he called me. He just went off. So I waited because, as I stated a couple episodes ago, I knew he was coming from a place of pain. I didn't know why, but he was mad. So when he finished, I said, I only asked you to move to that seat because the empty seat is right next to you. That's the only reason. Rant number 2, he lost it again. This time he stood up, and I'm sitting there. He's looking down on me, screaming at me. So at this point, because I am the teacher, I am the authority figure, I had to stand up, eye contact. Look, you can either move to this seat or you can go to your room. These are your options. But this stops. He went to his room. I was sad. Took a deep breath, went right back to teaching. All the kids very quiet now, wondering what's Miss Gina going to do. I went back to teaching. Another video, put in the video. I go to the back of the room. Pretty soon the guard comes in and says, after much consideration, this young gentleman would like to rejoin the class, if that's all right with you. And I said, absolutely. That poor thing. He came in the classroom, went immediately to the seat I had asked him to move to and put his head down. Broke my heart. I went over, I put my arm around him, I explained the assignment. I said, I'm glad you're back in class. Then while they were doing the assignment, I went out and I asked the guard, is there anything I could have done differently? And he said, no. He said he had a really bad home visit the day before. He was going to blow up at somebody. We didn't know who. It was me. Yay. So anyways, that was it. That was my second experience. And when I came home and I told my son about it, he pointed out the fact that at no point was I mad at the class, not for their rowdy behavior, not for this, blow up from the young man I had asked to move to another seat. And I started thinking about that because he called me some things. He really called me some things. And here's the thing, to take this back to the original analogy of what's in your cup, what's in your cup, those are your buttons as well. Those are the things that, as the new hot word is, your triggers. So why did I get so upset when the kids were telling me that I wasn't as smart as my son, but I didn't get upset when I'm called an old white racist? Well, because my inner fear is that I'm not smart. I have an inner fear that I'm not going to be seen as smart, even though I hold all these degrees now, and I have certificates out the wazoo, and whatever. I take all these trainings, but I have a fear that somebody's going to think that I'm stupid, and I don't know why. I don't know why. No one's ever said that to me. So I don't know why, but that is, for whatever reason, my inner fear. Satan's whispered that in my ear at some point, and it stuck. I don't have an inner fear that I'm a racist. I know I'm not a racist. So that didn't bother me at all. I could immediately see that this was his pain. This was his fear. I was concerned about him. And when my friend sent me that article, that was what I was thinking of, is just, we have to understand that what comes out of us is often a reflection, if it's not in a healthy way, is often a reflection of our own inner fear. So when that happens, we need to examine that. And the best way to examine that is through Scripture, because each and every one of us was made in God's image. Each and every one of us was made in God's image. And He doesn't make mistakes. And He made everyone beautiful and intelligent and capable. And if we're seeing ourselves as anything other than that, we need to learn how to better see ourselves through His eyes, which is what we're going to talk about in the next episode. Bye.